Have you ever dreamed of building your own house, waking up in a home designed just for you, from the ground up? It's a huge dream for many, but the path to get there can seem super confusing, especially when you compare building in the USA versus Canada. So today, we're breaking it all down. We'll explore the materials, the money side of things like taxes and mortgages, and of course the big question, what's the final cost? By the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer picture of what it takes to build your dream home in North America. First up, let's talk about the bones of the house. The materials. The most common way to build a house in both the US and Canada is wood frame construction. Think of it as the classic North American style. It's cost-effective, relatively fast, and builders everywhere know how to do it. You'll see lumber, plywood, and oriented strand board, or OSB, on virtually every construction site. But there are some interesting regional differences. In the southern US, especially in states like Florida and Texas, you'll see a lot more concrete block construction. Why? It's fantastic for resisting hurricanes and termites, two things you definitely have to think about down there. Up north, in Canada and the northern US states, the focus shifts to insulation. We're talking thicker walls, triple pane windows, and high-tech insulation materials to keep the house warm during those long, freezing winters. Energy efficiency isn't just a buzzword, it's a necessity to keep heating bills from going through the roof. Another trend gaining traction in both countries is the use of steel framing. It's more resistant to fire and pests, and it doesn't warp or rot like wood can. While it's still more common in commercial buildings, we're seeing it more and more in residential projects, especially for homeowners looking for extra durability. So, when you're planning your build, the climate and local challenges will be huge factors in choosing your primary materials. Now, let's dive into a topic no homeowner can escape. Property taxes. This is where things get really different between the US and Canada. In the United States, property taxes are a huge deal. They are set at the local level by your county, city, and even school district. This means rates can vary dramatically, not just from state to state, but even from one town to the next. You could be paying 1% in one county and 3% in the one right next door. These taxes are typically based on the assessed value of your property, which includes both the land and the house you build on it. So, a bigger, more luxurious home means a higher tax bill every single year. It's a major ongoing cost that you absolutely have to factor into your long-term budget. Now let's hop over the border to Canada. The system is similar in that property taxes are also a local matter, collected by municipalities. However, the overall tax burden on homeowners is often perceived as being a bit more manageable in many areas compared to high-tax US states. Canadian property taxes are also based on the assessed value of your home, and they fund local services like schools, roads, and garbage collection. One key difference is that in some Canadian provinces, there is a homeowner grant that can significantly reduce the amount of property tax you have to pay on your primary residence. It has a nice little break that can save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars each year. So while you can't avoid property taxes in either country, the specific rates and available relief programs are very different. Alright, let's talk about how most people pay for this massive project. A mortgage. Getting a construction loan to build a new house is a bit different from getting a regular mortgage for an existing home. In both the US and Canada, you'll typically get a construction loan first. This loan isn't given to you in one big lump sum. Instead, it's paid out in stages, or draws, as the construction hits certain milestones. For example, you'll get a draw when the foundation is poured, another when the framing is complete, and so on. The lender will send an inspector to verify the work before releasing the next chunk of cash. This protects both you and the bank, ensuring the money is being used as intended. Once the house is finished and you get the certificate of occupancy, the construction loan is usually converted into a standard, long-term mortgage. This is where you start making your regular monthly payments. In the US, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is king. It gives homeowners incredible stability because your interest rate and payment are locked in for 3 decades. It's a fantastic financial planning tool. In Canada, the mortgage landscape is quite different. The most common term for a fixed-rate mortgage is just 5 years. After those 5 years are up, you have to renew your mortgage at whatever the current interest rates are. This introduces a bit more uncertainty into your long-term financial planning, as your payments could go up or down every few years. It's a fundamental difference in how the two countries approach home financing. So, we've covered materials, taxes, and loans. Now, for the million-dollar question, or perhaps the $500,000 question, what is the total cost? This is where it gets tricky, because the answer is, it depends. A lot. The biggest factor is location. Building in a hot real estate market like Vancouver or the San Francisco Bay Area is going to cost a fortune, mainly due to the sky-high price of land. Building in a rural area in the Midwest or the prairies will be dramatically cheaper. Let's break down the costs. In the United States, a rough national average to build a standard quality home might be somewhere between $150 to $250 per square foot. This doesn't include the cost of the land. So for a 2,000 square foot house, you could be looking at $300,000 to $500,000 plus the land. But again, if you're building in a high-cost area or one high-end finishes like marble countertops and custom cabinetry, that number can easily double. In Canada, the costs are often quoted in a similar range, but remember to do the currency conversion. A typical range might be 180 to 350 Canadian dollars per square foot. Again, not including the land. So that same 2,000 square foot house could cost between $360,000 and $700,000 Canadian dollars. Major urban centers like Toronto and Vancouver are on the much higher end of that scale, if not above it. In addition to the base construction cost, you have to account for permits, architectural design fees, utility hookups, and landscaping. These soft costs can add another 10 to 25% to your total project budget, so don't forget to factor them in. So, what have we learned? Building a house in the US and Canada shares a lot of common ground, especially with wood frame construction being the standard. But the details really matter. In the US, you'll likely deal with wild variations in property taxes and might secure a long-term 30-year fixed mortgage. In Canada, the focus is often on building for colder climates, and your mortgage will likely need to be renewed every 5 years. The final cost is heavily influenced by location in both countries, but the price of land and labor in major cities can make or break a budget. Building your own home is an incredible journey. It's a massive undertaking, but it gives you the ultimate control to create a space that's perfectly tailored to your life. Whether you're planning to build in the sunny south or the snowy north, doing your homework is the most important first step. Talk to local builders, get multiple quotes, and understand the local regulations. It's a lot of work, but imagine that moment when you finally turn the key to a house that started as just an idea in your head. It doesn't get much better than that. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on real estate and construction. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Are you thinking about building a home? And where would your dream location be? Let's talk about it. See you in the next video.